Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel throneofseal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
With the young demon's level and the radiant great sword, it's not something his brilliant holy armor could withstand. However, Long HaoChen's unwavering determination to kill his enemy is undiminished, as he charges forward, and during his charge, his left footstep lightly grazes the ground, causing his entire body to slightly tilt in midair, as if he has lost his balance, turning his forward charge into a sidestep. This simple change allows him to dodge the initial thrust of the blue flame sword. This seemingly simple move is executed at the most crucial moment, and the blue flame sword grazes against his brilliant holy armor, producing a series of harsh, scraping sounds. Theft. Due to the sidestep, Long HaoChen's original thrust toward the opponent's chest naturally changes slightly. It directly pierces through the connection between the young demon's left chest and left shoulder. The intense light elemental energy transforms into an extremely sharp energy that instantly penetrates the opponent's body. Roar! The young demon roars violently, and then there's a thunderous explosion at his left shoulder, actually creating a blood hole the size of a human head. However, he seizes this opportunity to stagger backward, flapping his wings forcefully, and gliding close to the ground as he retreats into the distance. The explosion on his shoulder wasn't caused by Long HaoChen, but rather, he triggered the fire and dark elemental energy within his body himself. The reason is simple. After Long HaoChen's azure thorn pierced him, the sharp spiritual energy it brought was something his meridians couldn't resist. Although the stab hit his shoulder and the center of his chest, if he let that sharp spiritual energy rampage, he wouldn't even be able to escape. So, this young demon was ruthless enough to himself, and at a critical moment, he detonated his own spiritual energy, causing a violent explosion at the wound site. This explosion forced out the sharp spiritual energy from the azure thorn, pushing it out through the enlarged wound. Though this action caused him to lose a significant amount of blood and suffer severe injuries, in the short term, he still has the ability to adapt, at least enough to escape from this situation. No matter how good Spirit Furnace is, you still need to be alive to enjoy its benefits. Long HaoChen doesn't pursue him. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he can't catch up. His consecutive strikes, though they appear simple, represent the most powerful attacks he can currently achieve. Azure Strike combined with Azure Thorn has consumed nearly half of his spiritual energy. Regardless of his talent, in this situation, he must take some time to recover his spiritual energy. Yuting's pure light elemental energy has already rapidly entered his body through Radiant World, and he can see that the beautiful little elf is hovering there, her hands forming a heart shape, and a dazzling golden light shines on Long HaoChen's back. The reason he made this choice immediately upon seeing her is because it was a decision made after careful consideration by Long HaoChen. The young demon is quite powerful, at the pinnacle of the 6th rank. In a normal fight, it wouldn't be easy for Long HaoChen to win. The opponent is not just a simple 6th rank pinnacle. Being able to represent the demon clan here shows his status within the demon clan. You must not treat him as an ordinary demon. Once he faces the opponent head-on, Long HaoChen doesn't have a guaranteed victory. But when using Azure Strike and Azure Thorn consecutively, Long HaoChen's sudden appearance, without any pause, launched the most powerful attack. The opponent's reaction is always slower. As expected, the first strike was successful, directly causing heavy damage to the opponent. At this moment, the young demon felt extremely frustrated. He couldn't even figure out how he got injured by Long HaoChen. His Shadow Strike was a formidable attack technique, combining offense and defense, but it was directly broken by Azure Strike, and then Azure Thorn left him with no way to escape. Coupled with Long HaoChen's swift reactions, it resulted in his severe injuries. He was already extremely angry, but his inner calmness remained. After suffering heavy damage, he decided to escape first. He needed to stay alive to have a chance to seek revenge, just as he was about to disappear into the forest. At that moment, he suddenly felt a gust of evil wind in his face. A massive ball of dazzling golden light came crashing towards him. The attack was sudden and incredibly powerful. It was a matter of life and death, and the young demon unleashed all his potential, extending his wings to the maximum, using the air resistance to slightly reduce his forward momentum. At the same time, he tapped his right foot on the light sphere, propelling himself sideways. With a muffled sound, the light sphere hit the ground, but the young demon's body, flying askew, trembled violently, and his entire right leg went numb in an instant. Could the fragmentation of the power pill of light combined with Radiance Ripple be easily resisted? Especially when he was already heavily injured. A strong silver light nearly engulfed his body. This time, he had no chance of evading. He gritted his teeth, and swung his blue flame sword forcefully. At the same time, a mouthful of black blood sprayed onto the sword, causing the blue flames on the sword to blaze brightly, and it forcibly shattered the silver-white light, but his body was forced downward towards the ground. He must not stop. or he would undoubtedly die. There was only one thought in the young demon's mind. In the moment just before landing, he performed a mid-air somersault, kicked his left foot forcefully against the ground, propelling his body in a different direction. In an almost contorted twist, he vigorously flapped his wings on his back, channeling spiritual power into his wings. Due to exerting too much force, black blood spurted from the large wound on his shoulder. But at this point, he didn't care about that. Puff! While still in the air, the young demon once again spewed black blood, and his body underwent a transformation, with his eyes turning blood red in an instant, his muscles suddenly swelling. And astonishingly, the wound on his shoulder began to heal rapidly. He, who had seemed exhausted, suddenly regained his vitality. His speed increased dramatically. It's the demon god disintegration technique, a bloodline skill of the demon race. At this moment, a massive flaming skull appeared. A strike that had been gathering power for a long time contained an explosion of power surpassing 4,000 spiritual points. It collided forcefully with the young demon's body. The deafening roar shook Dream Paradise. It was a stunning scene that left the members of the Commander Level Number 21 Demon Hunting Squad in awe. The young demon astonishingly shattered the fire spell Lin Xin had cast with gathering power. And his speed didn't decrease but instead increased, darting toward a particular direction like lightning. The demon god disintegration technique could instantly extract all the potential of its user, temporarily unleashing immense power at the cost of burning one's life force and soul. Under severe injuries, and facing such a multitude of strong opponents, the young demon had no choice but to abandon all restraint. All in the name of survival. He was willing to endure the intense backlash of the demon god disintegration technique. It's worth noting that using this technique once would require a minimum of 3 years to recover. Moreover, the demon god disintegration technique was possessed only by the 72 demon gods and their direct bloodline heirs among the demon race. The identity of this young demon was becoming increasingly apparent. A figure shining with golden light fearlessly blocked his path. Using the holy light infiltration shield and the divine guard block, simultaneously, two resounding dragon roars echoed behind the young demon. He had raised his blue-flamed heavy sword, but a special force compelled him to turn around. However, his massive body collided with Han Yu's light reflection shield. A loud crash. Despite using divine guard block, Han Yu was still sent flying, and at that very moment, blue and gold, two miniature dragon-shaped energies struck the young demon forcefully. A miserable spurt of blood, despair filled the eyes of the young demon, and it was at that very moment that his spiritual power surged at an astonishing rate, and in the blink of an eye, it broke through the 10,000 mark. It was evident that his original cultivation wasn't just at the peak of the 6th rank. He had intentionally suppressed his spiritual power when coming here. However, when his spiritual power exceeded 10,000, and he attempted to break free from the restraints, Dream Paradise suddenly emitted an extremely majestic aura. Following that, a colossal figure descended from the sky abruptly, crashing down hard upon him. Boom! The young demon's body was slammed into the ground, then a torrential downpour of blows rained upon him frenziedly, and the sound of shattering bones accompanied a gory scene of blood spattering. The colossal figure that had descended upon the young demon was none other than the gorilla that had clashed with him earlier, and at this moment, it was undergoing a startling transformation. It was evident that, within the drifting luminescent clouds in the air, a large quantity of yellowish light clouds were pouring into its body. Its already formidable body was growing at an astonishing rate, and in the blink of an eye, it had turned into a giant nearly 10 meters tall. Meanwhile, the young demon beneath it had gradually fallen silent. Long HaoChen and his companions had already gathered together, and there was no need for them to take any further action. Just when it seemed the young demon was about to escape earlier, Long HaoChen used the holy guiding spirit furnace to guide his attack, preventing him from directly attacking Han Yu, and at the same time releasing it. However, the young demon, seeing that he couldn't break free, in his desperation, broke the seal restraining his body, causing his spiritual power to skyrocket and triggering a sudden eruption in the gorilla. His companions gathered around Long HaoChen, and Lin Xin exchanged glances with Long HaoChen, observing him, then glanced at the milky white spirit furnace not far away. Long HaoChen gently shook his head, signaling to his companions not to act recklessly. Killing the young demon was one thing, but obtaining that spirit furnace was another matter entirely. By this time, the gorilla had grown to a level they couldn't possibly contend with, so attempting to take the spirit furnace was clearly not a good idea. Han Yu whispered. It seems that the demon suppressed his own cultivation to enter this place. He attempted to challenge the rules of Dream Paradise, which caused this change. The strength of this gorilla has likely broken through to at least the 8th rank, Long HaoChen said. The demon god's disintegration technique. The young demon is probably one of the successors to the demon god, the position of demon god Samijina. I didn't expect that we would stumble upon such a big advantage this time. Lin Xin looked regretful and said, It's a pity the final kill wasn't ours. If I'm not mistaken, killing a successor of the demon god would have earned us at least 100,000 merits. Wang Yuanyuan added, Let's be content. If we can obtain the spirit furnace, it's worth more than 100,000 points alone. Captain, this gorilla isn't easy to deal with. Should we consider retreating? Long HaoChen shook his head and said, no need. Let's wait and see. As long as we don't make any sudden moves, it shouldn't harm us, at least. His perception was very keen, and he had received an amplification from Yiting in the dream paradise. In fact, when he attacked the young demon earlier, he had been constantly sensing the changes in the gorilla behind him. Having received the great recovery spell's healing, the gorilla's attitude toward him was quite calm, without hostility. The gorilla pounded for several minutes, only gradually coming to a halt. When it moved away from its previous position, the young demon's body was no longer recognizable. The gorilla's massive hand stirred in the pile of flesh, as if it had found something, and then it turned towards Long HaoChen and his group. It must be said that its body at this moment is truly enormous. Long HaoChen and his group have become mere specks in front of this gorilla. At least it's equivalent to an 8th rank powerhouse, and it's very likely at the peak of the 8th rank. After the young demon broke the rules, this gorilla unexpectedly became so powerful. Facing such a magical beast, it's impossible not to be nervous. But Long HaoChen didn't step back. Instead, he walked towards the gorilla. Light elemental elf Yiting spread her forewings and lightly landed on Long HaoChen's shoulder. It must be said that she is in her element in dream paradise. In just this short time, Long HaoChen's previously expended spiritual power has fully recovered. How astonishing is this speed! The gorilla slowly bent down, its two thick and powerful forelimbs supporting the ground, and its fierce gaze gradually focused. Just at that moment, Yiting suddenly flew out from Long HaoChen's shoulder, hovering and landing on the gorilla's nose. A funny scene unfolded. The gorilla actually locked eyes with her because of her presence. Their two enormous pupils suddenly converged in the middle, creating quite a comical sight. Yiting made a series of crisp sounds from her mouth, which were the language of the elves. The gorilla appeared uncomfortable due to their eye contact, and it shook its head gently, causing Yiting to fly away as well. Just at that moment, the gorilla's massive body began to shrink. A faint yellow light mist emanated from its body, and in just a moment, it returned to its original size, relieving the pressure on Long HaoChen and the others. It slowly approached Long HaoChen, and with a light flick of its finger, a ball of dark blue and black substance flew towards Long HaoChen. Long HaoChen instinctively raised his hand and caught it, only to be surprised to find that it was a fist-sized magical crystal. This magical crystal had a very peculiar appearance, shaped like a crown. It was entirely black, but emitted a blue flame-like radiance. Obviously, this was what the gorilla had extracted from the body of the young demon just now. This is... Long HaoChen looked at the magical crystal in his hand with astonishment. Lin Xin had already quickly approached him, and his understanding of these peculiar objects was much greater than Long HaoChen's. The crown of inheritance. That's right, that guy must be one of the successors of Demon Lord Samijina, and he's probably one of the higher-ranking successors. The crown of inheritance only appears after the death of a demon god, and successors to the demon god can also appear. The purer the bloodline and the higher the ranking of the successor, the more likely they are to possess the crown of inheritance. We've hit the jackpot. Just this item alone is worth more than 100,000 merits. It's said that when the crown of inheritance is embedded in a weapon or equipment of a non-light attribute, it can elevate its power by a level. Unfortunately, you can't use it, Captain. Only individuals of non-light attributes can use the crown of inheritance from the demon race. Otherwise, the clash of light and darkness would have a counterproductive effect. After a brief moment of thought, Long HaoChen said, "This item belongs to you, embedded in your fire crystal staff. We'll find someone to embed it when we return." Huh? Lin Xin was momentarily surprised. "Captain, isn't this a bit unfair? Shouldn't we exchange it for merits instead?" Long HaoChen chuckled and said, "Why are you being so calculating? You're the team's lucky charm. After all, what's the use of merits for us? They're for enhancing our own strength, right? Since this item is such a rare treasure, and it can directly enhance our strength, why exchange it for merits? In our team, we give valuable items to those who are most suitable to use them. That's a fundamental principle." After saying this, he turned slightly towards the gorilla and gave a small bow. "Thank you, friend of the forest." The gorilla let out a low roar towards Long HaoChen. Suddenly, it raised one of its hands, extending its thick finger towards Long HaoChen. Long HaoChen was momentarily surprised, not knowing what it intended to do, but Yiting flew over and used her small hands to guide Long HaoChen's hand onto the gorilla's finger. Immediately, a strange spiritual power surged from the gorilla's thick finger into Long HaoChen's body. Long HaoChen's body began to emit a golden radiance, while the gorilla's body emitted a yellow light. After a moment, the gorilla's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. It slowly raised its palm, took 2 steps back, and suddenly stood upright, then pounded its chest with both fists, and let out a deep roar. It cast a reluctant glance at the milky white spirit furnace hanging from a nearby branch, opened its mouth, and emitted a yellow light that illuminated the spirit furnace. The spirit furnace floated down, flying towards Long HaoChen, until it hovered in front of him. The gorilla suddenly turned around, and ran off into the distance. It let out a series of low and reluctant roars from its throat. Did it give us this spirit furnace? Sima Xian exclaimed in surprise. Long HaoChen nodded silently. It seems so. Grandpa Ling mentioned that there are 2 ways to obtain spirit furnaces in Dream Paradise. One is the situation we have here, where the guardian magical beast willingly gives us the spirit furnace. The other is through battle and slaughter. Although both methods can obtain the spirit furnace, obtaining it peacefully will earn the favor of the dream space, and the tests when leaving will be relatively easier. Obtaining the spirit furnace through slaughter will result in much harsher tests. This includes the final test. Sima Xian nodded and said, Captain, you should quickly integrate with it. Then we can look for more. The others all agreed without hesitation. Long HaoChen was the core of the team and its leader. This spirit furnace was also without attribute, so he could directly use it, and it was only natural to enhance his strength first. However, Long HaoChen shook his head and said, I mentioned earlier the right treasures should go to the right people. Yes, I can use this spirit furnace. However, I'm not the most suitable person for it. Yin Er, you come and absorb it. Me? Chen Yin Er pointed at herself. Looking puzzled, she hadn't expected that she would be given the first spirit furnace obtained by the team. Long HaoChen actually gave it to her. Chen Yin Er not only didn't feel happy, but instead, she seemed a bit dissatisfied and said, Captain, do you think I'm the most useless in our team? That's why you want to enhance my strength first? Long HaoChen chuckled and said, What nonsense are you talking about? Quickly absorb it, this is an order. Is your strength still weak? McDull has evolved, right? I saw it that day. This little guy silently completed the process of evolving from level 6 magical beast to level 7. As long as there are suitable magic crystals, it can already unleash the power of an 8th level magical beast. Are you still weak? This spirit furnace is most suitable for you, so absorb it quickly. While you're absorbing it, I'll explain to everyone why it's the most suitable for you. Chen Yin Er finally felt happy. She happily ran over to Long HaoChen's side, took out her crystal ball, and a faint white light emanated from her hands, injecting into the crystal ball. Immediately, the crystal ball emitted a brilliant light, and some strange yet gentle spiritual energy fluctuations appeared around Chen Yin Er's body. The light on the crystal ball flashed, and white light scattered, enveloping the spirit furnace inside, and bringing it in front of Chen Yin Er. Chen Yin Er's pretty little face immediately became serious. She bit her right index finger, and a drop of blood dripped onto the spirit furnace. Immediately, a dense white light burst out, enveloping Chen Yin Er's body directly. This white light wasn't particularly strong, but it was incredibly dense and viscous, like a giant cocoon, enclosing Chen Yin Er within it. Sima Xian asked in confusion, Boss, what kind of spirit furnace is this? Tell us about it. Everyone knows about spirit furnaces, but not everyone knows about all the spirit furnaces. Generally speaking, each profession only needs to understand the spirit furnaces that their profession can absorb. However, Long HaoChen is different. When he was a child, he followed his father in training. Long HaoChen's father specifically told him a lot about spirit furnaces. Long HaoChen can be said to know all the known spirit furnaces. Long Xingyu even drew many colorful illustrations for him to recognize them. The reason they had Long HaoChen learn so much about spirit furnaces was because Long Xingyu had a long-term vision. In his view, his son's future would not be simply obtaining a few spirit furnaces. Instead, it would involve the fusion of spirit furnaces. Truly powerful spirit furnaces are never just a single type, but a fusion of them. Although fusing spirit furnaces is incredibly difficult, once successful, it can create an entirely new spirit furnace exclusive to the individual, and its power is beyond estimation. As a simple example, among the known spirit furnaces, the most powerful one is Caier's reincarnation spirit furnace. However, this refers to a single spirit furnace. If someone possesses fused spirit furnaces, its power might even surpass that of the reincarnation spirit furnace. Of course, this is just an analogy. Even with fused spirit furnaces, none of them are known to surpass the reincarnation spirit furnace in terms of offensive power. Otherwise, the legend of the son of reincarnation wouldn't be so renowned. However, this illustrates that fused spirit furnaces are much more powerful than regular ones when conducting spirit furnace fusion. It's not limited to just the spirit furnaces that match one's profession. Over thousands of years of experimentation by humans, some experiences of spirit furnace fusion have been accumulated. The key is to find compatibility, and the strength of the spirit furnace's owner also matters. Luck is also a factor. No one dares to say that they can definitely succeed in fusing spirit furnaces, but anyone who possesses 2 or more spirit furnaces has a chance to fuse them. Long Xingyu taught his son all the knowledge about spirit furnaces to prepare him for spirit furnace fusion when he becomes powerful in the future. Long HaoChen continued. This type of spirit furnace is called the substitute spirit furnace. It ranks slightly higher than my holy guiding spirit furnace, but the difference isn't significant. Any profession can absorb it. When the substitute spirit furnace is activated, it can protect the owner from one attack after they've been hit, with a maximum limit of 3 times the owner's own spiritual power. The substitute spirit furnace can evolve up to 2 times. After evolution, it can withstand 4 or 5 times the attack power. As for Yin Er, as a summoner, her defense is the weakest among us, and she doesn't know any defensive magic herself, currently. She also doesn't have strong summoning magic to use. That's why I believe this spirit furnace is the most suitable for her. It can greatly enhance her survivability on the battlefield. Moreover, the substitute spirit furnace has a relatively gentle nature, and when we leave here, its trials shouldn't be too difficult. What's even more important is that the substitute spirit furnace has another function. If it's not used for enhancement, it can also, when activated, replicate a skill that the user has just used. However, after using it once, the substitute spirit furnace will become ineffective for a day. Yin Er's Gate of Life summoning of magical beasts is random, but with the substitute spirit furnace, she essentially has double the summoning opportunities with the same spiritual power. This increases the likelihood of summoning powerful magical beasts. Later, when she can truly control the Gate of Life, we will have 2 gates of life on the battlefield. Han Yu said. But if this spirit furnace were given to you, its effect would be just as good for you, whether for substitution or skill replication. It can enhance your combat abilities equally well. Furthermore, both of these abilities can play a crucial role. Long HaoChen chuckled and said, "You're right, I can use it too, but I haven't finished explaining yet. This substitute spirit furnace is quite useful, but why is it ranked lower? The reason is simple, it takes too long to activate the spirit furnace. Activating the substitution ability takes at least 10 seconds, and when using the skill replication ability, the time spent using skills increases by 50%. If I were to fuse with it, it would be relatively underwhelming for me. However, Yin Er's position in our team is the one that worries about the spirit furnace's usage time the least, so I ultimately decided to let her absorb it." After hearing Long HaoChen's explanation, everyone had a sense of understanding and approval. Indeed, this spirit furnace is most suitable for Chen Yin Er. Shima Xian chuckled and said, "Boss, when you encounter the most violent spirit furnace, be sure to save it for me. I love the violent ones the most." Long HaoChen chuckled and replied, "That will depend on our luck. I believe most of the spirit furnaces have already been discovered by the people who entered this time. Obtaining this one spirit furnace is already a worthwhile gain for us. If we get more, that would be additional gains." Long HaoChen had a positive mindset, and he already had 2 spirit furnaces. Leading his companions into Dream Paradise this time, his main goal was to enhance their abilities. Even if the substitute spirit furnace had a shorter skill activation time, he would prioritize his companions. He just wouldn't say it aloud. The white light enveloping Chen Yin Er gradually faded, and when she reappeared in everyone's sight, she had a somewhat puzzled expression on her face. "Did the fusion succeed?" Wang Yuan asked with concern. Chen Yin Er shook her head and then nodded. "It seems like the fusion succeeded, but why do I not feel the effect of this spirit furnace?" Long HaoChen smiled and said, "Don't worry, this is just the initial fusion stage. It's not that quick. It still needs to go through the 2nd and 3rd trials. Only then will this spirit furnace truly belong to you. At least during our time in Dream Paradise, you won't be able to use it for real." Chen Yin Er stuck out her tongue and said, "It's quite troublesome." Lin Xin said in a displeased tone, "How about I trade with you? I don't mind the trouble." Chen Yin Er chuckled and said, "Sure, let's trade then. If you can make my spirit furnace come out on its own for you to absorb, then I'll trade. I even heard earlier that the substitute spirit furnace is really great." "Thanks, Captain." Long HaoChen chuckled and replied, "Don't thank me, this is something we all obtained together. Let's go on and continue our search. Lin Xin, how's your spiritual power recovery going?" Lin Xin had nearly depleted his spiritual power with that earlier full-powered fire spell. Lin Xin replied, "It's recovered somewhat. It's okay, I'm not the main combatant anyway. Hee, Captain, let's move on later." While saying this, Lin Xin didn't know where he found a tattered bag, and enthusiastically went to the pile of demon youth's remains to pick through them. He didn't seem to mind the filth at all. Chen Yin Er immediately pouted and said, "Brother, medicinal pills, why are you so gross?" Lin Xin replied without turning his head, "What's gross about it?